Before he played Trump, Alec Baldwin's best S.N.L. character was himself. The key to Baldwin's viral impression developed right before our eyes. When a young Alec Baldwin, his star sharply on the rise, first took the Studio 8H stage 27 years ago, he wore a double-breasted suit and tie, sported a sleek black hairdo, and likely had no clue he was beginning one of the most enduring and important relationships of his life. But Baldwin on Saturday Night Live was an instant smash. The first episode he emceed was nominated for an Emmy, okay, not a rare occurrence, and Baldwin immediately returned less than a year later to host again. And he just kept coming back. Steve Martin took over 3 decades to host the show 15 times, Baldwin broke that record in just 20 years. The actor has returned to the familiar embrace of S.N.L. throughout his career and, time after time, found reinvention there. Now the man whom S.N.L. always helped rebound is returning the favor. Baldwin's instantly popular Donald Trump impression has skyrocketed, flagging S.N.L. to the highest ratings and most cultural relevancy it has enjoyed in years. But before he played Trump, the best Saturday Night Live character Alec Baldwin played was himself. It can be easy to forget that the 30 rock star wasn't always considered a comedic talent. After graduating from 80s TV soaps to movies, Baldwin's earliest film roles, like the straight man in Beetlejuice or the heel in Working Girl, relied more on his classic good looks than his ability to crack wise. His first appearance on S.N.L. in 1990, a month after his biggest film role yet as the stoically heroic Jack Ryan in Hunt for the Red October, relied on that Baldwin. Old behind-the-scenes footage of Baldwin taping a promo with musical guest the B-52s shows a fresh-faced 33-year-old eagerly taking, and sometimes even giving, direction in order to land the best version of a joke. But in the episode itself, Baldwin's strongest weapon was his sex appeal. His first monologue, a cute how-to in winning over an audience, saw Baldwin ogling the camera and dropping flirtatious lines like "Hi there, hottie, and guess who?" The most popular sketch from the episode, the only one that endures online, in fact, features Baldwin as a handsome cowboy whose brusque sexual innuendos fluster Jan Hooks' diner waitress. By the time Baldwin returned the following year, the writing staff knew a little better how to play with his persona. Approaching the early Glenn Ross high of his career, Baldwin would repeatedly, gleefully lampoon his own pretty boy movie star image, in sketches like 1991's Lank Thompson, Handsome Actor, where he demonstrated tips on how to appear more handsome while acting, including always start with your back to the camera and never look at the documents you're signing. Prescient, in the 1993 sketch Soap Opera Digest, Baldwin played a dashing yet brainless TV doctor who couldn't pronounce basic words like cancer or canal. That's how Baldwin himself, in a 2013 Guardian interview, described his career in the 90s, in which he followed up the success of The Hunt for the Red October with a string of bad or underperforming films. Throughout that period, he would return to the familiar ground of S.N.L., where his personal life and celebrity became the bigger focus of his appearances. A 1994 Valentine's Day episode featured newlyweds Baldwin and Kim Basinger co-hosting and smooching their way through a monologue. Baldwin's 1996 monologue saw him celebrating the birth of his first child, Ireland, while his 2001 monologue dealt with his divorce and newfound single status. His films may not have been performing at the box office, but Baldwin turned in some of his edgiest and most memorable S.N.L. sketch work in this period. After a 1994 Canteen Boy Goes Camping sketch was accused of implying underage sexual abuse, Baldwin gave a cheeky non-apology alongside star Adam Sandler when he returned to host later that same year. When the sketch is rerun, Canteen Boy's age, 27, is clearly stated in voiceover. The year 1996 saw the debut of the intentionally obnoxious fan favorite Brasky Buddies, and in 1998, Baldwin created what would be his most famous sketch character until Trump came along, Pete Schweddy, who makes those delicious Schweddy balls. For a while, It was his work on Saturday Night Live more than anything else that defined Baldwin's cultural impact. It was when Baldwin finally transferred the specific comedic skills he honed on Saturday Night Live to his work on screen that his film career resurged. In the critically beloved 1999 comedy State and Maine, Baldwin played the charming yet careless movie star at the center of David Mamet's satire of the film industry. He would do it again the following year, to even greater success, as Julia Roberts' awful, bombastic film star boyfriend in Notting Hill. That knack for overblown self-parody would eventually help usher Baldwin into the most enduring, celebrated peak of his career. The early OOS, a period Baldwin told The Guardian was the Dean Bien Phu of my divorce litigation. He scored an Oscar nomination for his menacing work in 2003's The Cooler. Then again, he also did The Cat in the Hat. But perhaps even more visibly, during those 6 years, Baldwin appeared on S.N.L a grand total of 8 times, not all of them as host. In 2004, he stormed the stage while host Ben Affleck was mid-monologue. Once again showing a flair for self-parody, Baldwin acerbically asked the younger star why he was stealing all of his moves, like hosting S.N.L all the time, public breakups with famous women, and fighting with the paparazzi. In December 2006, when crashing the monologue of his Running with Scissors co-star, Annette Bening, Baldwin answered her confused "What are you doing here?" with a wry "I live here now." By then, that statement was pretty close to being true. S.N.L head writer Tina Fey, who had gotten to know Baldwin's comedic talents very well after writing his sketch scripts for nearly a decade, had tapped him to play the role that would kick off the second phase of his career, Jack Donaghy on 30 Rock. Fey created Jack Donaghy as a lovable blowhard not too far removed from the self-parody Baldwin perfected on S.N.L. Even Jack's ties to the Republican Party read as a ref on Baldwin's own staunch support of Democrats. Any controversies around that time, a 2012 Vanity Fair profile referred to an explicit leaked voicemail to his daughter as something that will feature in Baldwin's obituary, whatever else he does, and however long he lives, and he knows it were outweighed by public affection for 30 Rock week after week. Baldwin even considered running for office. Hank Shinkoff, an experienced New York Democratic consultant, told Vanity Fair in 2012 that, politically speaking, Baldwin's 30 Rock persona and ubiquitous Capital One commercials have washed away the perceived sense of excess with respect to his daughter and his marriage. In this phase, as ever, Saturday Night Live had a significant role to play. In his guise as elder S.N.L statesman, having broken Martin's hosting record, Baldwin crashed Edward Norton's 2013 monologue and popped up on Justin Timberlake's 2013 episode to welcome the singer to the hallowed Five Timers Club, where, never missing an opportunity to gently mock himself, he jokingly referenced his own sudden fits of rage. But perhaps the finest example of S.N.L-enabled self-mockery came when Baldwin cropped up in a 2011 Katy Perry-hosted episode to play the airline captain who famously booted Baldwin from a plane for playing words with friends. When 30 Rock ended in 2013, Baldwin, 2 Emmys richer, took a bit of a break from NBC, returning to S.N.L only to cameo as Jack Donaghy in a Tracy Morgan-hosted episode. Eventually, it had to end. But I'll never have it that good again, professionally, he wrote in 2014 about the end of the series. But it wasn't long before 30 Rock, the building, called him home. In a move that was only supposed to last through Hillary Clinton's expected win in November, Michaels tapped his old friend Alec to play Donald Trump. The move was an extraordinary one. Sure, Larry David played Bernie Sanders intermittently in the primaries, and a post-S.N.L Tina Fey appeared a handful of times to send up Sarah Palin. But Baldwin's commitment was a bit more intense. Despite already having a few Trump impersonators like Trin Killam and Daryl Hammond in his stable, Michaels gambled that Baldwin's star power would give the show the added juice it needed to pull out of a ratings slump. Michaels, the man behind the longest-running sketch comedy show in history, was right again. Then Trump actually won, and Baldwin landed himself a semi-permanent gig as antagonizer-in-chief for the next 4 or 8 years. With ratings through the roof and the president clearly paying attention, it's an ideal situation for all. S.N.L helped Baldwin reinvent his career on his own terms, and now the show, with Baldwin's help, is doing the same. Though, as he has said repeatedly in interviews, this isn't a gig Baldwin plans to keep up forever. As Trump, Baldwin is no longer playing himself on S.N.L. According to the show's hair and makeup specialists, Jody Mancuso and Louis Zakarian, Baldwin insisted on an extreme look. He wanted to be painted orange, bright orange. But as the New York Times pointed out last year, like his award-winning take on Jack Donaghy, Baldwin, a New Yorker who once mulled political office and has engaged in a Twitter feud or two, is uniquely suited to both playing and rankling Trump. Trump in real life is more bombastic than even the most exaggerated version of Baldwin that has appeared on S.N.L, but the groundwork may have been laid 27 years ago. It's not the role Baldwin was born to play, exactly, but one that only decades of work on S.N.L could have brought to life. Please subscribe my channel.